Hello, friends, and welcome to your Daily Detroit. It is Tuesday, May 2nd, 2023, sharing what to know and where to go around Southeast Michigan. We have a ton of topics today. I'm Jer Stays, and across the table from me in the North End is
Shianne Serini.
It is so good to hear you, AM Gold.
It's so nice to hear you, too.
I love that. A listener sent that in, and I'm all about it. This is great. I think it's a bridge from the older to the new, and thank you so much. Oh my gosh, the feedback has been insane lately, the inbox with some of the topics. And of course, we're going to address them one by one, especially with the people we talk about when they come back on the show. But I know, Shianne, you wanted to start today with a little bit of I guess it's local in that a popular song does in fact mention a very historic place in Detroit, but something tragic happened this week for you.
Yeah. Unfortunately, last night, Gordon Lightfoot passed away. He is Canadian, but everybody knows him for his song, The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Right. And to be clear, he, near the end of the song, references the Mariners Church.
Yes.
That was, eventually moved, and now is like near Hart Plaza and the Rensen and that bridge to Canada. But that Mariners Church, very special place in Metro Detroit history, because shipping, nowadays we don't talk about as much, but still to this day, shipping is such a huge thing in the Great Lakes.
It is. And it really made me sad. I've been a fan of Gordon Lightfoot for as long as I can remember, and not just for The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. There was one time someone tried to quiz me on Gordon Lightfoot's music, and he was like, "Oh, well, you only know The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald." And I was like, no. So anyway.
What is your favorite non-Wreck song so that listeners can go and honor him appropriately? I think he was, in his 80s?
He was 84
Okay.
when he passed away yesterday. There are so many good ones, Jer. I have a really hard time picking a favorite. Obviously, Sundown, Carefree Highway. He was just a prolific songwriter. Even Bob Dylan, rains praise on Gordon Lightfoot, the Bob Dylan.
Are those the two tracks to start with?
I would start with those two. He paints a very good picture, and I am just sad that I never got to see him in concert. I missed his show last year when he came to town.
He toured right up to the end.
He was supposed to start touring again in April, and he had
wow.
to cancel his tour because of illness.
I think let's let that be a lesson. Anybody that's nearer that you sense might be near the end, don't wait on those tickets. Just go grab them.
Just go get them. I'm getting those Willie Nelson tickets. That's for sure.
All right, let's get into some stories around town. This one, all right, Shianne, here's the deal. Does this surprise you that this is a little, I guess it feels sus? I almost want to say it's allegedly sus.
Are you talking to my 8-year-old?
Here's the deal. The Founders Tap Room in Detroit closed. In a public statement, they said they were citing a decline in foot traffic due to COVID. However, the sus part is that multiple press reports share that there was a lawsuit filed alleging racial discrimination. They were alleging a objectively racially hostile work environment. And that dropped the same day as this closure. Now, Founders, as we even talked about on this show, a couple years ago, had some issues around this. I don't think Founders in Detroit were ever really a great fit. Now, this lawsuit, of course, has been filed. It hasn't been adjudicated. The previous lawsuit was settled. So that's why I say allegedly. At first, I was willing to buy a little bit of that, foot traffic line.
Yeah.
Because I know that there are places that are suffering from that. On the other hand, to see this information drop just a little bit after, this timing feels so coincidental.
Yeah, of course, this is all alleged, but it does seem suspicious. And I don't know if they were just trying to change the narrative.
Or maybe are they just done with all of this stuff? Because this just hasn't been a good run for them. We did a poll on our newsletter. And by the way, thank you to everyone who wrote so many nice notes about coming back to doing the newsletter. I ran a poll that did you go to Founders in Detroit? Only 14% said often. 50% said once or twice. This is among hundreds of responses. Nearly 30% said never, and 7% didn't know it was there. I think that Founders here didn't stand out in a way that it does in Grand Rapids, as well as having all the other kind of clouds and issues around it. Because Let's just be honest. We've traveled to both. Metro Detroit and Grand Rapids are two very different markets.
They absolutely are. And I do feel like if you knew what allegedly happened in the past before COVID with that other lawsuit and them closing to try and like regroup, people are going to talk and they're going to remember. People have long memories.
I will say the meme game is strong with this one.
It is so
Listeners
strong.
have been sending me memes, and people like I have not seen so many memes. One I appreciated was Spirit Halloween on the Founders. And I don't think that people wish ill of businesses.
No.
I feel like, though, that this one, it just, as I said, just never was a match. And I feel like people who really love Founders, they're just going to drive to Grand Rapids and just go to the big experience.
Yeah. I do wonder, and I do hope that something new moves into that space. Because what I will say is that Founders did an excellent job in renovating that building. And it is a great space for groups of people. That patio is wonderful. They have that back room in the back for like larger parties. I do hope that something can move in there. Another business can utilize that space because they did a really good job in renovating that building. I think it used to be a grocery store.
Yeah, there's actually enough places to park around there, all those things. So it is something to definitely look at, and I definitely hope for the future for that space.
So, Jared, we've talked a couple heavy stories. So let's shift gears and go into something a little bit lighter. Maybe take us back in history a little bit.
A nostalgia?
A little bit of nostalgia.
Looking at your notes you put down here, this isn't necessarily history, but it is nostalgia.
It's definitely nostalgia. Once again, my 8-year-old loves to talk about nostalgia because...
wait a second. How can the 8-year-old have nostalgia? I remember. Look, this story happened before your 8-year-old existed.
Before he was even a twinkle in my eye. Yes. Jared, we're getting some caribou back.
What? I thought they were gone.
No.
The caribou are returning and not in Canada?
No, Caribou Coffee, Jared.
Oh. I wanted to look. I've got a deer outside this house. I got a woodchuck outside this house.
I saw a pheasant a couple months ago.
Well, the pheasants are always are part of this thing. But like we have a full wildlife accoutrement here in the North End. Caribou, why not?
Yeah, so we're getting more caribou. They're coming back to the state.
Okay, the coffee.
And Jared, you and I have a long history.
Oh my gosh. Caribou, before I could drink, Caribou was the jam, wasn't it?
It was so...
Like, it was the place because it was like coffee, but it's always been kind of, I want to say like, so there's like third wave coffee, which is all about the beans and the whatever. This is straight up dessert with a little caffeine.
Yeah. I would go to Caribou before going to Starbucks.
Ooh, why?
I don't know. I just like the vibe better at Caribou. And
wasn't there like a Caribou that you frequented a lot? The one in Grosse Pointe Park that used to be the Sanders?
Yeah, not the park, but the Village.
Village,
yes.
Yeah.
That was my spot. I would always go there. I think it was also bigger than the Starbucks in the Village. And so there was more room to hang out. And they had the couches in the back with the fireplace.
Oh my gosh, those 90s style couches at every Caribou, right?
Yeah.
The Mission style with the overstuffed.
Yep.
Oh, I'm feeling these nostalgia vibes.
Just the amount of time I spent at that Caribou on dates.
It was a good date place.
It was
because they wouldn't like giddy you along.
No,
no matter which one I went to, I was never giddied along.
No, it was just a nice hangout space. So yeah, I'm excited. So we're getting 50 in Michigan.
Whoa.
Yeah, 300 total, I think, across the country. I'm so excited.
Big lodge vibes, like 90s lodge vibes.
Yeah, dark wood. It just was like cozy. Yeah, I'm excited.
What was your favorite drink?
Oh gosh, I can't even remember. I think it was probably the white chocolate mocha or whatever.
I was a berry guy.
Oh, was it the white chocolate raspberry?
I think so. Something like that.
Something like that. Super sweet, super not coffee flavored. Yes.
So, Shianne, is there any details on when we're going to get back to Nostalgia Lane?
I don't think so.
So it's kind of like we're going to find the franchisees and do that kind of thing?
Yeah. There's no like hard timeline on this. It's just, it's coming.
I am definitely intrigued. If you are older than 8 years old and therefore qualified to have nostalgia, hit us up, dailydetroit@gmail.com. I would love to hear your stories from back in the day.
So, Jer, I know you talked to Devin a lot about your trip to Brooklyn, but I want to talk more about what some of your favorite like food things were. Because I saw the TikTok last night.
The Instagram and the ticker, the TikTok.
Yes.
And the flib flab.
Yes. All the socials about your little trip.
Oh, yeah.
Getting some ice cream.
So longtime listeners will know that we had Dylan LeMay. He's from Metro Detroit, like the king of ice cream TikTok on the show. Great episode. So much fun. Anyway, his store in New York City is now open. So when I was through there, I had to go visit. It's over on Bleecker Street.
Yes.
It's huge. Number one, if you see from the video, it's gigantic. I caught the ice cream, which I'm very proud of. My geriatric millennial tail was able to actually get it done.
So I have a question about this. What happens if you don't catch the ice cream?
Great question, because I got asked that a lot. Here's the deal. If you miss, they just reuse the ball for the throw and then trash it.
Okay.
So they'll redo it if it hits the floor or whatever. They'll just keep trying to do the catch again if you want to keep trying.
Oh, okay.
And then a separate one.
Okay.
So for your particular ice cream.
So you're not eating floor ice cream?
Right. Like if you fail, you pay for floor ice cream. No, that is not how it works.
I think the health department would have a problem with that.
Though Hunger Games would not. I thought it was pretty impressive. You know, he had a couple of people who stepped in to put up some money for this. It's in a beautiful, like the TikTok doesn't do, I could do a whole TikTok on the gorgeousness of the building that it is in.
Yeah.
But I'm always glad to support people from Michigan, wherever they may land. And it's really the perfect kind of destination place for this kind of stuff. Like, I get why it does well. It was Sunday. It was just always busy. So I thought that it's good to do. And kind of a fun little thing. It's called Catchin' Ice Cream. It is on Bleecker Street.
So how was the ice cream, though?
Good. I accidentally got the vegan.
Oh, how did...
Because I wanted dark chocolate and raspberry, and that was the thing.
Oh, okay.
But the other ice cream was good, too. Like, in the video, that was good. I don't want to say for vegan ice cream, but look, let's be honest. Vegan ice cream is not ice cream.
No.
At least in my opinion. It is a great dessert, right? Like, when I go to, like, say, Cold Truth or something in Midtown, I don't expect ice cream. I expect a good vegan dessert.
Right.
But the other ice cream flavors are solid, too. Like, there's more than is in a 40-second TikTok, believe it or not.
I bet. So what are some of your other things that you had?
I went to a city Target, which I think is really interesting in the light of the brownfield funding that Urbanized Detroit reported. And, of course, we plan on having Robin Runyon on the show later this week to talk about that and a bunch of other developments. But I went through a city Target and used the city Target because I was there for a little bit and needed some things. And I thought it would be interesting to share. I'll have a reel on that too, about kind of like what it's like to use this smaller format store, because what we're going to get in Detroit is a city Target, and we're not used to these kind of smaller format things. No. They're in Columbus. They're in a variety of cities. It is basically Target, delete the clothing section.
Right.
And you're going to have less brand selection. So you're going to have everything you need, but like there's a tech section with mice and printer cartridges and blah, blah, blah. But it's going to be more, you know, the word curated. Like you can still get yourself a pack of hangers. You can still, there was a small food market in there. Right. There was still the ability to get the pharmacy goods that you need, but it's all in a smaller footprint. You're not going to have as much floor space. This particular one, most of it was actually downstairs in the basement.
Oh, okay.
You would take the escalator down and everything was down there where there was a little bit more floor space. And then you took the escalator up to check out. So you had special carts.
Right.
You like carried things through. Like it's just a whole different vibe, but it still was quite useful.
So it's kind of like if you've been to the giant Target up in Bloomfield on Telegraph and Square Lake, where it is upstairs, you take the escalator up and then you shop and then you go down. But this is just a much smaller footprint than that.
Like, yeah, like we're talking like something like 30,000 square feet or something like that. Very, still large. Like it's large for a retail space in a city like that.
Yeah.
But it's small compared to what you're used to for a suburban Target. It's clear that they restock the shelves a lot more often.
Yeah.
Like they're very busy with that because they only have, like there's going to be a lot of stuff that's in storage that they constantly bring out and refresh. It is going to be a little bit of an adjustment for people when you think Target. It's still going to be Target. But you're going to, if you have not traveled, you're going to be in for a little bit of like a disorienting experience at first.
So what about the prices?
It felt comparable. I mean, I knew that there was going to be like a New York premium,
right?
But didn't feel like anything was absurd,
right?
Okay, like it felt Targety, right? It's going to be, again, a New York City premium, but none of it was absurd. I think what they do is they just really work on their efficiencies, and with keeping their real estate costs low, it's about moving that as much stuff as you can out of a small footprint.
Right.
And then the last thing I want to mention about that trip, I went to a great restaurant actually in Hudson Yards.
Ah.
Because I was like, you know what? if I'm going to eat in the future District Detroit Vision,
You want to see what they have to offer?
I'll be honest. So I went to this place called Ci Siamo. Absolutely great. I never knew that I needed a French onion in a tort.
That sounds so good.
And it's so much better. You know why? Because when you have French onion soup, you know how like if you eat it publicly,
Yes,
it's real messy.
it is.
It's just whatever. The tort is great because you get all the like soupness, the soup onionness goodness, and the cheese, but like in a forkable bite.
That's what I'm talking about.
And what struck me, I paid less than I did for some dinners here in Detroit.
Wow.
Yeah, service was great, absolutely wonderful. It's because you do the volume.
Yeah.
The place was packed. Like everything, that was the big thing. It's like everything, you just keep moving. It's not that New Yorkers are rude. It's that New York, like you have to keep moving because there's so many people.
Right.
And so it's not about being rude. It's just being direct.
Right.
And then, but so many people I met were so very nice the entire time. But it's just when you're doing stuff, you got to be direct because there's people, there's stuff, there's cars, there's everything.
Right. I mean, that sounds like a lot of fun. That tort sounds amazing. Now I want one. I love French onion soup.
And that's kind of when I realized that New York is kind of like Coruscant in Star Wars, you know, like the big city. Because I'm like on the third level. So there's like a level where the cars are underneath. Then there's another plaza level above the street. And then I was up another level across from like the NHL store and a bunch of other stuff looking over it. And then there were levels above that where people were sitting on and patios and stuff. So it's like that multi-level city thing. Yeah. You're only going to get there, right? Like it's like, and we got a lot of feedback off of that episode. And don't be confused. Don't think that I think that like the model for Detroit is New York. I think there's inspired things. You can't compare the two.
No.
Like they're incomparable.
Yeah.
With a city that's one of the top 5 in the world, you know? Anyway, before we go, I wanted to mention something that might be close to your stomach.
What's that?
Did you know that Julia Child, A Recipe for Life, is coming to the Henry Ford Museum of American Innovation? Or the Henry Ford, Greenfield Village, all that stuff.
I actually did because I follow them.
I am so geeked because I just got finished watching the HBO Max TV series. Julia, have you seen it?
I haven't seen it. I will go and watch it. I'm currently in the Yellow Jacket space right now.
This is just candy. Like, I mean, obviously there's drama, but
of course.
I love the Julia Child story. Sarah Lancashire is a international treasure. And come on, David Hyde Pierce plays her husband. Who doesn't love Frasier's brother?
Oh, Niles Crane.
He's the perfect character for it.
He is.
Like there's like a je ne sais quoi.
Yes.
To like, and you realize just how important her husband was in all of this thing.
So
like,
very.
And this overall story. And I don't know how much of it's dramatized versus the actual thing. But once I saw that HBO Max thing, which has been renewed for another season, so go check it out if you've got HBO Max. I cannot wait for this exhibit because I love cooking. And Julia Child, whether or not you like French food or not, is like the kernel.
Yes.
The popcorn kernel of like the entire thing. Like we wouldn't have Food Network, 8, all that stuff without Julia Child.
We wouldn't. And I used to watch her show on PBS as a child. Like talk about nostalgia.
I mean, it's very clear that we collaborate with PBS for a reason because we're public television people.
We are public television people. And I am so excited to check out this exhibition. I'm pretty sure my best friend and I are going to go. She's a chef. She's also a member of the Henry Ford. So I think her and I are going to have a
Do we have, and this is unsponsored, but I think we have 2 or 3 team members that are members of the Henry Ford. I know Devin is over there because, I mean, it's a hop and a skip and a jump from him.
I used to be a member. I just haven't renewed it.
Do you need to remember your membership?
I do need to.
Or does the Henry Ford need to like send us some memberships? That would be nice.
I mean, hey, if Henry Ford wants to sponsor us, that would be amazing. Because I love the Henry Ford Museum and Greenfield Village.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's a great way to escape in town. And, you know, I didn't realize after talking to the Visit Detroit people that it is the biggest tourist draw in our region.
It is.
So we may as well enjoy the thing that the rest of the world travels the world to come to.
Exactly.
Well, that is it for today's show. I hope you enjoyed it. We were all over the map, Shianne Osirni.
We were. We started out with some sad news, some
important
talking about stuff, but we ended on a bright, sunny note with Julia Child.
With a chicken in every pot. As always, thank you to our members on Patreon, patreon.com/dailydetroit, who are helping this thing go. We have our glass offer for members, $10 a month or more. Shipped out a bunch of them, got a bunch more coming in. It's absolutely great. You know, Shianne, I love the description that one of our members had when they got this Patreon gift. Thanks to Daily Detroit for the super awesome Patreon gift. High quality rocks Manhattan glass that is heavy enough that it could be used as a crime of passion murder weapon in a Lifetime movie. I feel like I hit the mark. Please commit no crimes of passion with Daily Detroit glass.
Please don't.
We don't need that. But your support is more than welcome. With that, I'm Jared Stays.
And I'm Shianne Nocerini.
Remember that you are somebody, and we'll see you around Detroit. Talk tomorrow.